Hello, and welcome to the Joy of Cooking podcast. Each week, we set the table for a discussion about recipes and stories from the authors of The Joy of Cooking, kitchen victories and misadventures, and most importantly, what we are cooking and eating right now. We're glad you've joined us at the table today. I'm Shannon Larson, home cook, ardent Joy of Cooking user and fan, and asparagus enthusiast.
I'm Megan Scott, co-author of the 2019 edition of The Joy of Cooking. I'm a food editor by day and avoider of dish duty by night, and I think paella is a great weeknight dinner.
I'm John Becker, fourth-generation co-author and steward of The Joy of Cooking, America's oldest family-run cookbook. And I'm a recovering garlic press hater. It's been too long since we were told that they were bad.
Wait, are you using them now?
No.
I think we need to invest in one. This all came up right before we started recording.
Yeah, I feel like there was an era of where unitasking tools, quote unquote unitasking tools, were really hated upon by a certain contingent of food people. But now I'm also feeling like if you want to use a garlic press, just use a garlic press. Like, who cares?
I don't have one for that reason. I was told that it's something you shouldn't have, but I'm also like, that would save me so much time.
Yeah. I mean, if you hate peeling and chopping garlic, you
I
just
do.
use a garlic press.
Do you remember, like,
it's fine.
Before the dark days when, everybody started shunning garlic presses, my father, Ethan, he had like this one that had huge holes in it. And it just it produced like this nice chunky.
That was a really good one.
It was a good one.
You never, I feel like that one's just gone. I don't know what happened to it.
Well, it was Italian, and I feel like it was just aluminum, and it just would discolor after repeated washing.
Yeah.
We might have even put it in the dishwasher.
Ooh, yeah, I know. Shannon, what have you been cooking this week?
I think you can probably tell, but I was sick for a little while and I'm finally getting over it, but it is slow going. It's just hanging out in my head. So I didn't cook very much, you guys. But as I've been getting better, one thing I'm trying to do is push myself to have more dinner parties, like random dinner parties too. I feel like I've been kind of prone to not having people over the past year as much. I don't know why that is. Getting older.
It happens.
I sleep early. So you guys came over one night.
Well, we all go to sleep early now, so it's fine.
Dinner at 5, in bed by 9.
Guys, this is depressing.
No. I like going to sleep early.
I love sleep. So yeah, I had, you two over and some other friends. And then Friday night, John and I pulled out the grill and we were making veggie burgers and just randomly invited 2 other friends. And then we were like, do you guys have dinner plans? We just ended up making dinner together and it was just so fun. And I feel like I tend to overthink having friends over and having dinner parties, and I need to stop doing that. It can be extremely casual, like frozen Beyond Burgers. It's just
totally.
fine.
Yeah.
So,
well, and I loved when we came over, it was like we had some plans canceled. And so I had already planned on making this roasted carrot dish, and you were just like, I'm going to roast a chicken. And we just kind of did it, and it didn't need to be planned that much.
Also, roasting a chicken is like the easiest thing you can do for a crowd.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't have to think about it. We just threw it in the oven, and then there's like a main, and nobody had to worry about the main. Anyway.
It was great.
I'm putting focus on that.
Well, I was going to talk about the roasted carrots that I made and brought over because it's such an easy and good recipe. And also, we've gotten carrots every single week in our CSA all winter long. And I like carrots, but man, it's really stretched my ability to like figure out what to do with them. But this roasted carrot dish is really good. It's just peeled like carrots that are cut lengthwise into like halves or quarters. And then I toss them with melted butter, Dijon mustard, and honey and salt and pepper, roast them until they're kind of caramelized and the butter gets browned, and then just garnish with feta and either dill or mint or both if you have both. But so simple and really delicious.
So good. And it's so beautiful on the table too. So it's a good thing to bring over like for a dinner party. It's easy, but it's also very stunning. So
thanks.
Yeah.
Made the miso ramen for the recipe club. Did up like a chashu pork. So that's like a whole process. And I think that the theme last episode was vegetarian noodles, so kind of broke with that. But
yeah, well, can you say a little bit about what chashu pork is?
Take a pork belly with the skin on, then you roll it, tie it into a cylinder, and then braise it in soy sauce, mirin, sake, ginger, and green onion. And, plenty of garlic.
And you did it in the Instant Pot, too.
Yeah. Our recipe is just like a standard stovetop simmer. But like most things, it's pretty easy to adapt for the pressure cooker. The braising liquid, I mean, it's really good, but it's not like you're going to be depending on that to like evaporate or concentrate. So not too much to really adjust for the pressure cooker when you don't really need to thicken the liquid.
It was delicious.
It was. We got the
I
little
enjoyed
end
eating it.
piece, and the texture was so good. It was like not dry at all. It was delicious. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Loved it.
That and oh yeah, rhubarb conserve.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we made, or John, not we. John made it. John made the rhubarb conserve for Canning Club, which we ended up not having this week, but now we're ready. So, and that's a really, really good Joy recipe. It's got like golden raisins in it and fresh ginger, citrus.
Just thinly sliced lemon rounds, quartered oranges that have been thinly sliced. You just remove the seeds. So it's kind of got a little bit of a marmalade feel to it. Yeah, just that acidity plus the rhubarb's acidity. It's really delicious.
This week, we'd like to welcome Jordan Mishra Johnson to the table. Jordan grew up in Oregon's wine country hub of Yamhill County, Oregon. She studied business administration and fine art at the University of Oregon. She has worked as a digital media specialist at the boutique hospitality public relations firm Broussard Communications, the associate editor of Fresh Cup magazine, and a dishwasher at the small French restaurant Cuvée in Carlton, Oregon. Jordan is the designer and creator of Drawn Hungry, a cozy culinary card game. Jordan, welcome to the table.
Hello, I'm so excited to be here.
Well, thanks for joining us. What have you been eating or cooking this week?
Yeah, we just had family over yesterday, so my husband made a bunch of Indian food. I brought some for you today.
Thank you.
Some roast chicken, chickpea curry with fried paneer. And I actually just made the banana bread recipe from The Joy of Cooking.
Oh, lovely. How'd it turn out?
Wonderful. Yeah.
Made
Made
a great
a
recipe.
double batch. We had 6 frozen bananas sitting in the freezer, and I was like, you know what? I feel like some banana bread tonight.
I love that feeling. And when you can just do it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really simple recipe too, which is nice. You just kind of toss it all together and pop it in the oven, and 1 hour later you got dessert.
Yeah. We actually recently made that recipe and I made a small tweak to it that actually makes it easier. I just melt the butter. I don't beat the butter anymore with the sugar. I just melt it, add it, and it's fine.
Love that.
Yeah. Do you add the optional apricots or leave them out?
We didn't have any apricots. Like I said, this was a very sort of just like, oh, I feel like banana bread tonight. I did add in walnuts, and I was talking to my husband. I think we might add in some shredded coconut next time.
Ooh, that would be delicious.
Yeah, just for a little tropical take on banana bread.
Definitely recommend the apricots if and when you have them. They're a very good. It was kind of a weird. The first time I made that recipe, I was like, I don't know about this.
Okay.
They're kind of tart, so they add a nice acidity to the bread and chewiness.
Ooh.
Do you ever take your leftover banana bread? I don't know what that means. Do you ever take your banana bread and brown a slice in butter in a skillet?
Ooh, no. I did take some, toasted in the toaster, added butter, and then extra salt. Like, I love the extra salt on there.
Yes, so good. It's definitely, try it in a nonstick skillet with just a little butter, and it gets really, like, griddle it, and then put the flaky salt on there.
Ooh.
Delicious.
I feel like a scoop of vanilla ice cream too.
Oh,
would
heck
just,
yeah.
Like, be perfect.
See, it was giving breakfast vibes, but now
We're just escalating it.
Yeah.
Jordan, what are you excited to cook now that it's kind of springtime?
I am just so excited for fresh vegetables. We have started some plants from seed. So we've got like some sugar snap peas, some zucchini, leeks. There's kale. We're going to have some arugula. So just like all the fresh garden veggies.
Yes, that's my favorite. I'm so excited. I've also started some seeds, and I check on them multiple times a day. Like, have you grown yet? Have you grown? Are you still growing? Are you okay?
That's me. You get stressed, you go down, you look at the plants, you're like, oh, okay.
You're okay. Yeah. I planted some eggplant seeds, so they are coming up, but they're still like an inch tall. So we're going to see where they're at when it's time to plant them.
That's soon, right?
Well, I think actually, so in the Pacific, at least in Portland, I kind of look for temperatures at night to be above 50 degrees. And we're still looking for, at least for the next week, it's
Yeah.
going to still be in the 40s. And so I don't want to plant anything that, you know, like eggplant or anything super summery. I feel like we'll just not appreciate the cold weather. So this week's theme is preserved lemons, and Sarah, our producer, made a preserved lemon dip for us to try. Sarah, what else is in it other than preserved lemon?
Well, I'll post the recipe on the website. I'll link it in the show notes. But it's just sour cream, Greek yogurt, preserved lemon, some of our hot sauce, and salt and pepper. That's it. It's super easy. But my tip, because the question was about using up extra preserved lemon, is to use the garlic press with the preserved lemon. So it keeps the seed back so you don't get the bitterness and you don't have to chop it up. So the nice thing about this dip is you don't have to pull out any equipment other than that extra garlic press. And I am pro garlic press. I'll
That's
just
good to
put that in
know.
there.
We're rehabilitating garlic presses on this episode.
We need to do a little deep dive into what garlic presses to get.
Yeah.
Which ones will? Stainless steel. Noted.
But that's great advice too. And that honestly, that makes it not a unitasker anymore.
Yeah.
You
I was
can
gonna
use
say
it for
that.
that. Yeah. All right. So let's taste this dip. I'm going to pass it around.
And thank you for the side of pickles, Sarah.
What a spread.
I know, it's beautiful. It looks very springy.
It's really, really good on the radish.
The lemoniness, and then you get just that little bit of spice with the radish.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little bit of bite right there
Yeah.
at the end. That's really nice.
Also, what a nice, easy thing to make for a dinner party type of situation, too. So,
Yeah, I love dip. Dip is such a good kitchen friend.
Yeah.
I feel like dip is, everyone always loves dip. It's so easy to make. Yeah. And just cut up some veggies. Are we supposed to dip the pickles in the dip as well? Okay. I'm going to try that.
Yeah, the preserved lemon has a really interesting flavor. So yeah, I was doing a little bit of research. This actually came up when we had Julia Skinner on, because I asked her if she knew preserved lemons, like if there was any like lactic acid fermentation going on. Just because like it's such a low pH, and it really is. You're quartering lemons not all the way through, just so they stay together. You're packing them with salt. Then you put them into a jar with even more salt, like on the bottom and the top. And then you just like let it sit, and that salt is going to be drawing out all of the oils, all of the juices from the lemons. But yeah, you end up with something that's like, at least one study was saying that it's like a pH of 2.5 or something. And,
Yeah, super low.
most lactic acid fermentation is taking place at like 4 or something like that. And it's also super salty, which also inhibits like a lot of lactic acid bacteria. But I guess it does select for some. But I was reading this study that was saying that salt preserved lemons usually go for quite a while, or you can definitely leave them for quite a while without really anything happening to them. But yeah, they left it for like 52 days, and they found a bunch of yeast like in there. That was the primary like organisms that were around. There were like no lactic acid bacteria, but I guess they do have lactic acid in them, but it's just like not very much.
Yeah, that is a really, I don't know, this is like one of those very niche cooking subjects that we get really interested in and nerdy about. But yeah, it's like, is it actually fermentation or is it just curing? But I guess there's probably always some small level of, there's bacteria everywhere. There's bacteria at the bottom of the ocean. So there's probably bacteria in salt preserved lemons,
And yeast.
And yeast. Yeah, exactly.
How long would you say you can leave like a jar of preserved lemons in your fridge?
Well, we were just talking to John's mom about this yesterday, and she said she had a jar in her fridge for about 3 years and that she ended up throwing it away at the end of 3 years because it didn't taste as good, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't moldy or anything like that. I think the flavor may degrade over time.
And that was in the refrigerator.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. But years, indefinitely.
Yeah.
They last a long time. So we all made the miso ramen this
Yes.
week. What did you think, Shannon?
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah.
We made it last night. Yeah, we did have some of your delicious pork. So thank you. I also am such a fan of corn kernels in ramen. It just makes everything brighter, and it's like fun to eat. We also paired it with a little bit of pork crumbles and seaweed, of course, and it was delightful. Loved it.
Yeah. I also love corn on ramen. It's like veggie boba or something.
Yeah.
Kind of just
Yeah, it's actually fun to eat. Like, ooh, little corn. And it's so easy.
So it calls for some kind of stock or broth, and you add like miso and other things to it. But what did you use as the base broth?
So we make our own chicken broth because we just put all of our scraps in the freezer in some bags and, chicken carcasses. And so we have quarts of chicken broth in our deep freezer. So we used homemade chicken broth. And then I didn't have any red miso on hand, so I used white miso, and it worked great.
That's great.
And then, a lot. I mean, I love mirin, like the addition of the mirin. We didn't have sake at home, so we just used a little extra rice vinegar too, just to have that like vinegary flavor. And it's such an easy, like adaptable recipe. Like whatever you have on hand, you can kind of just throw it together and it works.
Yeah, we call for red miso in that recipe, but I think I did half white miso, half red, and it was really good. I mean, I feel like it's pretty, unless you're going for like that really, really dark hotcho miso, like there are sweet misos out there that probably wouldn't be so great. But
yeah, you can use.
It's pretty adaptable.
Yeah, exactly. So that was our Joy Scouts recipe of the last week. And this week, since our topic is preserved lemons, we're asking folks to make the Charmoula recipe on page 586. Thank you. So Charmoula, John, actually you made it yesterday. Can you talk a little bit about what it is and what's in it?
Sure. Well, first of all, it's a North African condiment, and also it's used as a marinade, typically for fish. But really, it's so much more versatile. I remember when we first tested it, I had a hard time not eating it with a spoon. This happens with me in condiments. So
yeah, John's a condiment person.
I guess it's not. What did you call me? It has some cilantro, has some parsley, some chili,
coriander,
cumin, white pepper.
I put black pepper in it, but our recipe calls for black or white pepper. So.
And yeah, so like some optional saffron in there too. And then usually it's lemon juice and olive oil. But yeah, so usually our recipe in particular calls for 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. And I was reading, when I was researching preserved lemon, that preserved lemon is often used in some parts of North Africa for making charmoula. So I added 1 tablespoon.
A tablespoon.
Yeah, that's right. So we subbed a little bit of the preserved lemon, just puree, for the lemon juice, and it was delicious.
Yeah, we have a jar of actually pureed preserved lemon, so all the seeds are already taken out, and it's just in it's a very convenient form. But if you just have preserved lemons, just
use the rind.
Just use the rind, chop it up super fine. Don't have to worry about actually blending it.
Or use a garlic.
I was just gonna say.
Yeah, or use the garlic press. It's such a good idea.
But yeah, we made some other adjustments to that recipe because we were kind of interested in just having it as a table sauce. So instead of having a minced onion in there, we used some chives from the garden that we used, as well as some scallion. We definitely added a little bit more olive oil to kind of take it into a saucier direction than the kind of pasty marinade that the recipe ends up usually giving you.
Yeah, and I would also say that with the preserved lemon added, just watch how much extra salt you add, because that stuff is so salty. You really don't need much beyond the preserved lemon.
And what do you pair it with?
We did just like pan roasted chicken, so chicken thighs, and it was great with that.
Yeah, I want to use the rest of it either for like slow roasting, like maybe a salmon fillet, or I was actually thinking about maybe grilling some fish. It's going to be raining, but whatever. You can't let that stop you.
Yeah, you can't let rain stop you from grilling. Not here.
Not here. Not in April.
So yeah, please make the Charmoula recipe. Tag us on Instagram at The Joy of Cooking, or you can use the hashtag Joy Scouts. And yeah, look forward to making that again this week and using it on some fish.
Sarah Marshall of Marshall's Hot Sauce here. Looking for a hot sauce that's a little different? Let me introduce you to Tortuga Gordo Fermented Hot Sauce, makers of the Good Food Award-winning Green Cobra and Rotten Jerk hot sauces out of Portland, Oregon. Tortuga Gordo is waiting for you in the refrigerator section of Market of Choice, New Seasons, and your local co-op or bodega. Or find them online at www.tortugagordo.com. That's TORTUGAGORDO.com. They're not with the other hot sauces because they're not like the other hot sauces.
All right, Jordan, so you are a card game designer, creator. What title do you prefer?
I go by game designer and illustrator.
Nice.
Yeah. So I spent well over 1,000 hours just on the artwork for the game, and I feel like that deserves
yes, recognition
in the title. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow.
It looks like you did. It
Yeah.
looks like you spent 1,000 hours just
Yeah.
illustrating it. It's the illustration. So the game that Jordan designed and illustrated and made is called Drawn Hungry. And could you just explain briefly like how the game works and what it's about?
Yeah. So it's a cozy culinary card game where players prepare meals for special occasions using lusciously illustrated ingredient and dish cards. I tell people, like, my one-liner is, it's apples to apples meets Top Chef.
I love that. That's such a good description. That made me want to play it right away.
I think it's a good time.
Yeah. And they are, I mean, this is a podcast, so we can't actually show you what it looks like, but you should look it up because the illustrations are absolutely adorable. All of the cards have bunnies on them.
They're so cute.
They're so cute. Why bunnies?
I'm a bunny mama. I got a bunny at home. Her name is Smudge. And she's a naughty lady, and I love her so much.
It sounds like how we talk about our cats. They're so bad, but I love them so much.
Well, and I feel like it's really nice because you can get so much inspiration from the cards too, just like in your everyday cooking life. Like if you're like, honestly, I'm like, you could just pick a card and then be like, I don't know what to make for dinner. It's almost like a little.
Do you ever use it that way?
I feel like I have the cards out so much that I'm just always getting inspiration for like what to make. I have, as part of my YouTube series, a pitch to plate challenge. So I'm actually taking like the things that people are pitching in the game and then like making them. One recent thing that I made was a spaghetti lasagna combo, aka a spagania. And I need to trademark that because I feel like that's going to be a thing. It was delicious.
What was it, like a tomato sauce, and did it have a ricotta filling, or what was going on?
So I actually took the Joy of Cooking marinara, made that, and there was also a bechamel. So we had two sauces going on in the spagania. It's just a fun word to say.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
It does remind me of, I think my grandmother, when I was little, she would make, I don't remember exactly what she called it, but it was essentially a spaghetti casserole. But it was all, everything was just, there was no layering. It was, everything was mixed together and it had cheese on top and it got crusty.
Yeah.
I just remember thinking it was great.
So this was pitched by Katie Osuna, who has the Copper and Heat podcast. She did a layer of spaghetti with marinara, a layer of eggplant and zucchini, a layer of caramelized onions. Then we did that again and then topped it with the bechamel.
Whoa.
That's so good.
Yeah.
It was great. I loved those leftovers.
That's so fun. You mentioned that you wanted to talk about using herbs in cooking.
Yeah.
You're a big herb fan.
We always have mint and cilantro at our house, two constants. I don't know why mint is so expensive at American grocery stores. It boggles me.
Truly boggles the mind.
Like it's a weed. Like
Yeah.
it's
It's invasive.
You can't control it. Why is it so expensive here for just a little pouch?
Yeah, I know. We are always getting it at like the local Asian market because you can get an actually decent quantity for not very much money.
Exactly. We just moved in like down the street from a Hong Fat. I'm like,
Nice.
so great. Now we can just run and grab, a big bunch before we make our food.
Yeah, I agree though. Those little plastic clamshells of herbs that you get at a regular grocery store that are just so expensive, I feel like a chump every time I
know.
buy one and I hate it. I
Yeah.
hate it.
Yeah. So
That's what makes Hong Fat a happy place.
I know. Yeah. All the herbs you want for like $1 a bunch.
Yeah.
It's great.
Agreed. We use mint a lot for pani puris. So it's this delicious Indian dish that my husband introduced to me. It consists of like a cornmeal sort of like puff. You like break open one side of it. You fill it with a mashed potato and chickpea mixture. And then you dunk it into this spicy cold mint water. And then you just like pop it all in your mouth, and it's like that sensation
So
of like
good.
spicy but cold and minty, and then there's a creamy element and crunchy, just like blows your mind the first time you try it.
I want some. That sounds
So good.
so
Yeah.
good. Do you buy the pre-made pani puri, like the shells?
My husband keeps on threatening that we're going to try to make the puffs like at home, and that day hasn't happened yet. But I'm sure that we'll have a day where just like our whole kitchen becomes so like greasy from like frying all of them, and then we'll just have like a ton. We'll have like a whole pani puri party and have people come over.
Such a great idea.
Yeah, you'd have to. If you're going to be making them from scratch, you better have a party.
Oh, you have to share. Like I'm super excited, but yeah, we just get the clamshells at like the Indian market, and those are great.
Yeah. So to make the minty sauce that you dip them in, is it just what is in that?
Yeah. So there's like tamarind paste, there's mint, hing, there's usually lime, ginger paste is in there, a little salt. I am the official pani puri water tester. So my husband will make it. He's like, come over, like give it a taste. I'll be like, it needs a little more hang. It needs a little more mint, something like that.
I love getting to be the taster. It's such a fun job.
It is.
John lets me taste all of his creations, and it's very fun.
Yeah, well, that's my way of delegating responsibility.
Here, if it tastes bad, it's your fault.
Yeah, I've oversalted things enough that I get really concerned about it. So
Yeah, John has a salt tooth, not a sweet tooth. But I think that's an asset. I think most people don't salt things enough.
Yeah, I'm guilty of not salting enough. I'm always scared that I'm going to oversalt, so I undersalt. I'm like, oh.
well, you can always come back from that. You
yeah.
can't come back from oversalting,
Right.
Or it's very hard.
Yeah. But usually it's fine. Like usually it's not like a throw it away situation. It's a little salty, you know?
Yeah, the pickled bamboo shoots, they were a little salty, but they were fun.
Yeah. I was trying to. That was the first time I'd ever made those. I think I was just like looked at a momofuku recipe, and yeah, it was kind of a lackadaisical, like, you should eyeball this recipe, and that's what I did, and
But they turned out well.
Yeah.
it's pretty good.
Yeah. You're your own harshest critic.
Yep. Jordan, any favorite easy weeknight meal recipes that you go to often?
Oh, yeah, totally. We have created our own rice bowl based off of like Cafe Yum and a whole bowl. I would say usually like twice a week. I just got burnt out. I was like, no more Yum bowls for a while. But usually we'll just like have a pot of rice, throw a can of black beans on with a little bit of taco seasoning. We'll chop up a bunch of tomatoes and onions, cilantro. I have my secret Yum sauce that I make.
Oh, nice.
Just plain yogurt, nutritional yeast, soy salt, and a little garlic powder. Just mix that up. And of course, some avocados. And just assemble everything together. And like you got dinner in 20 minutes.
Perfect.
Yeah, the whole bowl is definitely like one of our go-to like on the go lunches. But you've been making like a thali sauce that's a little bit different.
Yeah, I make their special sauce. I found a copycat recipe online for
From
the
whole bowl?
whole bowl sauce, and yeah, it has a lot of, well, not a lot, but it has nutritional yeast in it. It has chickpeas in it that get creamy when you blend it up. I can't remember what else is in it. It's like lemon juice, garlic powder, the usual suspects, but it's really good. And yeah, I make that a lot for lunches during the week. Got to have those black olives on there. There's something about those black olives, the California olives.
I know, I love those
I know,
things.
they're so weird, but I love them.
Oh no, I am so not an olive person.
Really?
That's the thing. I like go and I order. I'm like, I want a big bowl, no olives.
Jordan, what is your relationship with the joy of cooking? Is it a cookbook you grew up with?
Yeah, so my grandma Rissy, she has a collection of first edition cookbooks. And so the joy of cooking has just always been on her shelf. And she's the kind of person that loved to just pick up a cookbook every night and read before bed. I was like looking through her copy and I was like, oh yeah, I remember having this. She made the baklava a few times. And it was just sort of like in the ether around me when I was growing up. I probably didn't like see it or have anything from it for a few years. And then when I gave you a copy of Drawn Hungry, you were so kind and gave me a copy of Joy, the 2019 edition. And I've actually been reading it a lot recently. between like illustrating and my day job and being a business owner, I look at a computer screen way too much these days. So it's just been like going through it and reading it has just been really lovely.
Is there anything that stands out as like something you really loved or were interested by recently?
I think in a recent episode, you were talking about the sourdough like section that you added into the 2019 edition. So I was just like going through and reading that. I had my sourdough phase like many years ago, pre-COVID, and I literally spent like 2 months just. I wanted to get that perfect boule, and I got it, and I was like, okay, I'm done. I am done spending all this money on flour and feeding this thing every day, and I achieved what I was set out to do, and now I'm good. It was really nice just like going through and reading about the whole process, and that was just a fun little thing for a night, just reading about how to make sourdough.
Yeah. I actually really enjoyed writing that section. That was a very fun section to write. I remember trying to like make it more comprehensible for people because there's a lot of kind of sourdough lore out there about you got to keep it on a heating mat, you got to keep it, I don't know, there's just a lot of like very picky things that people say to do, and I found that you actually don't have to do most of those things. Like it's pretty resilient. I mean, it may not always turn out perfectly, but keeping a sourdough starter is not that hard.
You may get a few bubble overs.
Yeah, that happens. That happens.
Along the way.
How do you like the illustrations in Joy? I don't know if you've compared like you have a copy of the 1975 here that you brought today that was your grandmother's. And I do really love the illustrations in this one. These are all done by an artist named Ikki Matsumoto, who was a student of Charlie Harper, who illustrated all the cool, like geometric looking birds. I don't know. You've probably seen them, but may have not put a name to it.
Okay.
But Ikki Matsumoto studied with Charlie Harper. And then the most recent edition was done by John Norton, who is like a textbook illustrator. So he does a lot of science textbooks and things like that. And he illustrated the 2019 and the 2006. So they're like slightly different styles, but they're just kind of fun to like compare and look at.
It's so fun to look through. And like for me, I'm thinking like all the really cool ways that line weight is used in the illustration in order to like convey different techniques. And it's just a really, really pleasant on the eyes.
Yeah, and it's kind of nice to get a change from photos sometimes. Like I love a really beautifully photographed cookbook. But yeah, there's something timeless about illustrations that I just love.
You can like put yourself into the book in a different kind of way.
Yeah, agree. Jordan, what condiment gets the most use in your kitchen?
Ooh.
It's very basic ketchup.
Yeah, ketchup.
America's mother sauce.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, the Flavor Society pizza chili crisp. We use that all the time.
I don't think I've had that one.
We have not.
Highly recommend. I made pizza deviled eggs with it,
That
and
sounds so good.
it was a hit this
Nice.
last Christmas.
Oh, that's so fun.
Other than the chili crisp, what else did you put? Was that the main flavoring?
I also got like a saucisson Olympia Provision sausage and crisped that up in like a cast iron skillet. Mixed that in as well for sort of like a little sausage crunch.
That's so smart.
It was great.
I've got parties on the brain, but it would be so fun to do like a deviled egg party where everybody bring a different like weird deviled
You
egg.
just have to invite me.
Well, yeah, I want this
that's-
pizza deviled egg.
It's like pure opulence.
Easter's coming.
Deviled eggs is like the most
I know.
expensive thing you can
I
make.
know.
Right now.
One of our favorite places to go, restaurant-wise. They took the deviled eggs off their menu.
Wait,
So
who?
sad. Bellwether.
off?
They took them off the menu. I mean, everything on the menu is still really good, but I was sad that the deviled eggs are
They're like
gone.
beet deviled egg. Oh, those are
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah. Jordan, where can listeners follow you?
Yeah, I have a YouTube series. We post the Drawn Hungry dinner party. I get chefs and foodie friends to join me for a game of Drawn Hungry on camera in delightful destinations. I'm also at Drawn Hungry on Instagram and TikTok, and you can check out my website, drawnhungry.com.
And can people buy the game on your website?
They sure can.
Awesome. Definitely pick up a copy of the game. It's beautiful and super fun. It's a really good game for like families or just I mean, it's good for adults too. But yeah, it's beautiful and delightful.
I was thinking that like maybe this is a use case that just doesn't come up very often, but it did seem like it would be cool to have a dinner party kind of club situation where like a group meets to play the game, and then the winning, meal, whoever wins has to host the next dinner party and make all the stuff from that.
That's like my dream. I want there to be like a Drawn Hungry club, and like you have to make something that you pitched this time for the next get together, and
That would be so fun.
I got to make that happen
Yeah,
someday.
let's do it.
Let's just do all the parties, you guys.
I know. Dinner parties every week. I love
Funny bird party.
it. Yes, also that.
Cooking with matcha? It all starts with the right tea. And that's where you need to pick Mizuba Tea Co., sourced directly from heritage tea farms in Japan. Mizuba's matcha is crafted by award-winning farms in Yuji, Japan. Vibrant, umami-rich, and stone-milled per traditional methods. It's the top quality ingredient for lattes, desserts, and even savory dishes. Not to mention whisking on its own as a ceremonial-style matcha. Whether you're making a matcha cheesecake or dreaming of a spring matcha tiramisu, start with the best. Taste the tradition. Shop at mizubatea.com. That's mizubatea.com. And use the code JOYOFMATCHA, that's JOYOFMATCHA, for 15% off your first order.
So each week we choose a topic to tackle based on caller suggestions. And this week we're talking about preserved lemons. Sarah, can you read the question?
I recently made Joy of Cooking's chicken tagine with chickpeas. You use preserved lemons in the recipe, and I have a whole jar of preserved lemons. What are some of your favorite recipes with preserved lemons?
For the latest edition, we actually added quite a few recipes that either have preserved lemon as like a suggested ingredient or just, it's just built right into the recipe. But, shakshuka is definitely something you can add the preserved lemon to. It's really good with that.
Mm-hmm.
Rice salad with chicken and olives is another dish that we added.
That one is a sleeper. That one's good, really good. But rice salad doesn't
Yeah.
sound that exciting for some reason, but it's
Can you explain
delicious.
more what goes into that?
Cooked short grain white or brown rice, some spinach or arugula, diced cooked chicken. I mean, this could be like leftover roasted chicken, could be poached chicken, some bell pepper. You make a vinaigrette and then you add the preserved lemon to the vinaigrette. And then, some chopped green olives. Of course, we're huge fans of Castelvetranos, and that's what we recommend here.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
It's simple, but it's a great like lunch thing to have around,
Yeah.
I think. I was also experimenting a little yesterday with using preserved lemon in a salty lemonade. So it's actually like a common Vietnamese drink is like salted lemonade or limeade, or sometimes you'll even see like kumquat kind of lemonade drink.
Salted kumquat is so
It's
good.
So good. There's a place locally that has it, and now I can't not get it when I go there. It's kind of a problem. It's super tangy and sweet and salty, and so it just is like you just want to drink more and more of it. It's my favorite. So Vietnamese salted lemons are done a little differently than North African preserved lemons, but so they basically make a brine, just a salty brine. So rather than packing the lemons in salt, you make a brine and you put the lemons in the brine, and then they exude their juices and get soft over time. But you just take the preserved lemon like paste, or you chop it up really fine, put it in a glass with some simple syrup or whatever liquid sweetener you would put in a drink, and then just like crushed ice and water or sparkling water, and that's it. And it just has this super like tart, salty, sweet. It's just all the thing. It's so refreshing. It's like what you want on a hot afternoon. There's something about like adding the salt that makes it even more refreshing. But I definitely recommend doing that with preserved lemon, and that's the easy way to use it too.
I did see some recipes for dirty martinis
That also sounds great.
That would be cool.
Gotta try that.
Or Bloody Mary. I feel like it would be perfect in a Bloody Mary mix. And then I make a celery and date salad with Parmesan, and I haven't added preserved lemon to it, but I think it would be delicious in there.
We make that salad all the time too, and you're right. I actually love this question because I have a jar of preserved lemons in my fridge that have been sitting there for too long. So we're going to be eating a lot of them this week.
Yeah, I feel like this is a common problem.
Yeah.
We also had one, but we have condiment problems, and so it was like in the back behind all these other jars, and I was
Ours
just
hangs
like,
out in the back,
we
too.
I forget that it's there, and then I
Mhm.
don't use it. But and then I was also thinking about there's a salad dressing recipe in the 2019 edition that's called, what is it? It's like Megan's. It has my name on it.
That's my go-to salad dressing.
Preserved lemon is great in there. Just like
There you
stir
go.
a spoonful in. You don't really even need to adjust anything else in the recipe, I don't think. And then I was also thinking it would be really good just mixed into some mayonnaise for like sandwiches. It would
yeah.
add something interesting, like a pop of sour flavor that I think would be delicious.
Yeah, or a compound butter
Mm-hmm.
would be delicious.
Even dip French fries into something like that. That would
Mhm.
be good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Roasted potatoes.
Roasted potatoes. Yeah,
Mhm.
maybe probably just toss some with roasted potatoes.
Yeah.
That would be great. If you have a topic, ingredient, or joy story to share, call our hotline at 503-395-8858. Leave us a message or send us a text. We'd love to hear from you. Next week's topic comes from our caller.
I recently got 3 dozen duck eggs from my brother-in-law. He's given me some in the past, and I don't really eat them scrambled or fried. Are they better for baking or in a quiche? Any recipe ideas?
Yeah, we'll look forward to answering that question next time and being very jealous also. All right, everybody. So what are we thinking about cooking this week?
I'm just excited to have an appetite back. I was eating just like sleeves of saltines for about a
Mhm.
week. So we are also, it's baking week at our house. John is making sourdough, speaking of sourdough.
Lovely.
And we're going to make some of Kathy Burrow's bagels this
Oh,
week.
fun.
We just thought that would be fun. It's like we just had a beautiful spring day here. We were outside in the garden and now it's raining again. So we're trying to look forward to inside tasks for the rest of the week and not feel sad.
Yeah.
So we're calling this week baking week. And then we do have plans to go to Canard on Friday with some friends.
Fun.
Always look forward to Gabriel Rucker's food, and that space is beautiful. And I'm just looking, I think I'm going to get the duck, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Get
Get some oysters. Oh, it's so
Mhm.
good there.
Ugh, so excited. What about you all?
I have some asparagus in the fridge that has got to get used up. We're heading to New York on Wednesday, going to Cherry Bomb Jubilee.
Fun.
So using up all that produce in the fridge before we're out of town.
Mm-hmm. Any
Fun.
thoughts on what you want to do with the asparagus?
Probably like roast it with some za'atar. That's a go-to. Serve it with a quinoa salad.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Sounds so good. Yeah, we're gonna so we just got our last winter CSA this past week, which contained yet again more carrots. Every week there's carrots. But luckily I had used up all the carrots previously. So I'm not working with a backlog. I've usually got a backlog where we've got like 3 bags of
Yeah.
carrots and one is like
we have to FIFO
FIFO them. You know, one's on top. It's like, okay, that's the oldest one. I got to use that one first. But anyway, we got our last carrots for a while. So I'm probably going to do like a French grated carrot salad with lemon and Dijon mustard. And honestly, maybe some preserved lemon.
Watch, now we're just use preserved lemons in everything.
I've also got some leftover buttermilk from a previous baking project. So I'm probably going to make cornbread since that's just super easy. But yeah, I got to use up that buttermilk.
And you love cornbread.
I do. I love cornbread.
I
I could
know.
eat it every day.
Well, maybe we should pair that with some good mother solids.
Oh, yeah. We talked about this on the podcast with Steve Sando of Rancho Gordo, but the Good Mother Stollard beans that are notorious, I guess, very difficult to grow and often out of stock because they're the most delicious bean on the earth. But they had them in stock a couple weeks ago and we ordered some. So now we can have Good Mother Stollards and some cornbread. What about you, John?
Really just thinking about what to do with the charmoula that we're going to be making more of.
You should grill a whole fish.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the Joy of Cooking podcast. Before we go, show some love for your favorite podcast by subscribing to the show and leaving us a review on Apple Podcast and iTunes. Follow us at joyofcooking.substack.com and on Instagram at thejoyofcooking. Stay tuned for next week where we will tackle cooking with duck eggs. And don't forget to make this week's recipe, charmoula. Call in with questions, hopes, history, or where you find joy in the kitchen. Our number is 503-395-8858. That's 503-395-8858.
And we could not do this without our fantastic team at the Joy of Creation Production House. Thank you to Dave Drusky, our production coordinator, Haley Bowers, our audio engineer, and Sarah Marshall, our producer.